To create your assessment as an online test for finals this year, you will want to start by going to your assessments dropdown and selecting create and edit assessments. If your assessment is already created, once you get to this page, you can look up your assessment either by name or number in this area here. So I'm going to look up my assessment here. Here's my final. I'm going to open up that test. You can create online assessments using both regular bubble sheets as well as custom bubble sheets. So I'll show you both options. This one is a regular bubble sheet. It's already been used and released in the past. If we want to switch this now from a printed version to an online, you're going to look at the setup tab here, scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to want to flip this option right here, allow student online entry from no to yes. This will give you the option to use online with your students, but it will also still give you the option to print this assessment. So you can mix and match between students taking online assessments and students taking paper pencil assessments. The other thing that will pop up on this screen here now is a time limit for your assessment. You do not need to set a time limit, but you are able to. If you put a time limit in here, so if I want to say that it's going to be a 30-minute option for all students. So this would encompass all students taking this assessment, every teacher that has this test. If I leave this blank, that will not put a time limit here. Each individual teacher would then have the option to add a time limit to this assessment when they release the assessment for student use. Most of the time, this is left blank and the time limit is set by the teacher, but you do have both options. The other thing you're going to want to check on a regular bubble sheet, once you flip that flag to an online yes, I'm going to go up to the questions tab here, and you will notice on here that a couple of extra fields populated. This response type here now shows, and then you also have this free response correct answer. So there's two different things that we'll need to take a look at. All of your questions, when you flip an assessment to online yes, all of your questions will default to multiple choice. Most of the time when you have a regular bubble sheet, your questions are multiple choice, so that can stay as is. But if there are any questions on the assessment that are teacher scored, so maybe this last question here, I'm going to have be a teacher scored, I'm going to want to switch that question type from multiple choice to teacher scored. And what that will allow teachers to do is view the students' work once they've completed their assessment and then grade it for them. If you leave that as multiple choice, the students are going to be the ones to see the bubbles and be able to score themselves. So if you have teacher scored, make sure you come into the questions tab and switch your question type from multiple choice to rubric/teacher scored. For a regular bubble sheet, those are the only two options of question types for an online assessment. So in this case, that would be everything that I would need to complete here on this questions tab. The only other part of the assessment setup that you're going to want to double check will be the uploads tab. If you already have an assessment document uploaded under the uploads tab for your regular bubble sheet, you are good to go. You can go in and release this assessment for student use. You can set it up to open now or in the future. If you do not have an assessment document already uploaded in this tab, you are going to want to upload that assessment document. What the regular bubble sheets will look like for students will be one side of the screen will be their actual test document. So that will show up on the left side. And then on the right side of the student screen, they are going to see all of their bubble options. If you do not upload the actual test document, the left side of a student screen is going to be blank, and all they will see are the bubbles on the right side. So students would have to go between a printed paper version of the test and then entering their results online. So you do want to make sure you go in and put that test document in so that students will see that on their screen as well. But again, now for a custom bubble sheet, that is everything that you need to do to take it from a printed version to an online version. For a custom bubble sheet, we are going to follow basically the same process with just a couple of extra steps. So I'm going to get my custom bubble sheet assessment pulled up here. So I'm going to start exactly the same way, switching this one from paper pencil to online. Start on that setup tab. I'm going to go down to the bottom and flip this allow student online entry flag from no to yes. And again, flipping this to yes does not mean every student needs to take that online. It is just an option. So you can mix and match between different teachers, different classes, or even within the same class. Again, I can put my time limit here. I'm going to take that out. You can set it here. That does set it globally for every teacher giving this assessment. If you would like each teacher to have their own option for a time limit, you can do that when you release the assessment for student use. So that's all for the setup tab again. Same process as the regular bubble sheets. We'll go to the questions tab. Here again, we need to choose the response type. With a custom bubble sheet, there are more options for response type. Because students are actually showing their work on the same page as their assessment with a custom bubble sheet, we can do the same thing with a custom bubble sheet online. Everything again is still going to default to multiple choice. We do still have the rubric teacher scored option. So this will show the bubbles and grading scale for the teacher, but it will not show on the student side. But then we have two additional options. We have free response scored. And this one is a nice option for, say, like a math class. What this will do is it will basically be, so if I flip this to free response scored, I can change my possible answers to whatever our teacher scored options would be. So if you are going to grade this, in this case, she has an NSEPM scale, you can leave that in there as your free response scored options. We are going to want to put in a free response correct answer though. So that will be the big change here. So we're going to change that to free response scored. You can put in a correct answer. So what this is nice for is, say I have a math problem that I don't want to give students multiple choice options for. I want them to actually show their work and figure it out, but there is a singular answer. I can put in that free response correct answer in this column here. And then if the student puts that in as their answer, the system will automatically grade that as correct. If they put anything else, then it is going to be incorrect. So if I click on this free response scored, it will show you some examples of options. But when I am ready, I just hit add correct answer and I can put in my correct answer. You can put in one correct answer in this field. You could put in multiple correct answers. That's up to you, what you are willing to accept as correct responses from your students. So for example, if my math problem worked out to be 1/2, I can put 1/2 in here as a correct answer. And then I can also add in 0.5 if you are willing to accept the decimal point. With math, as correct answers go, we do drop the leading and ending zeros. So you don't need to put in 0.5 and 0.5 and 0.50. We know that those are all the same, so we do drop those zeros. So putting in 0.5 will also include if the students put 0.5, they will still get credit for that response. Once all of my responses are here, I'm going to click close, and then that will show up in this free response correct score answer field. And again, partners will automatically grade anything that you have set as free response scored, so it does save you a little time. Your other option with a custom bubble sheet is going to be this drawing teacher scored. So what this is going to do, it's going to allow students to get a drawing field that will pull up for their assessment where they can write, they can record their audio, they can take photos of something and upload that as the evidence of their work. And then on the teacher side, you would grade this the same way you would a teacher scored question. Students will not see the scoring on their assessment. They won't have those bubble options, but the teachers will on their reports. So we can use this to, in math, we do a lot where we'll put up a graph in the background and students can draw on there. Social studies, we've had examples where teachers have put a map asked us to put a map in the background of the drawing field, and then students can mark different locations. They could just be a math problem or a writing example or something that you'd like to actually see the student work. So the students can actually draw on the screen. Again, if they're more comfortable, they could write it out on a piece of paper, take a photo of their work, and then that would be what shows up in the drawing field for teachers to grade. So that is another option with your custom bubble sheet online student assessments. Once all of your response types are chosen, your free response correct answers are in for the questions that need them, you're just going to want to double check and make sure that your assessment is uploaded, same as it always would be for a custom bubble sheet. One note with custom bubble sheets is that when you flip it to an online yes, that does not automatically make it available for you to use online right away. There is a little bit of a gap. As the partner staff looks at your normal custom bubble sheets and we upload our documents here for you, we have to do the same process with this student online. We want to make sure that that formatting translates from the paper version to the student online. So there is a little bit of a lag time between when you flip this to an online yes and when it's actually available. Just like with all your custom bubble sheets, once the partner staff is completed with your online assessment, you will receive an email saying that your assessment is ready to use. So you will still get that confirmation so that you know when to go in and release this for students to use. The other thing just to keep in mind is we always have this ask for help button right at the top of your screen. So if you ever run into a problem or questions with how to set up a specific assessment, feel free to click on this ask for help icon. And that will pull up an email template for you to fill out, give us a little bit of an idea of what you're looking at, what the problem might be, and that will send that over to the partner staff, and we'd be happy to support you with whatever your issues may be.